Be advised, mature content ahead. This podcast is brought to you ad-free thanks to the Legion of Demons at patreon.com/NOTLP. If you like what you hear, there's much more at patreon.com/NOTLP. Join the Legion. That's patreon.com/NOTLP. And now the show.
How do you do? Just a word of friendly warning. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
Welcome to Night of the Living podcast. We're doing rip-offs.
Ow!
Kelly Clarkson.
Got some of my hair.
Oof, careful.
And that was Andy. I'm Freddy. You've heard Kelley speaking as well. Mm-hmm. Amy is here.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about Roger Corman's rip-off of Star Wars, Battle Beyond the Stars.
Battle Beyond the Network
goes deep in this movie.
It was.
There's layers and layers of rip-off.
There was rip-off, yeah, from the word go, from before the word go. And there was references, like connections, direct connections. Anyway, so much.
I can't wait to hear your finds.
And then, what's that, Andy?
Oh, no, go. I'll just bring it to the main segment.
Oh, okay. The Roulette is a movie called Ghosts of War, which I probably will spoil when we get into it, even though it's okay.
So that's so spoiler. Yeah, the spoiler is not going to be a recommend.
I mean, like it'll be that part is a spoiler, but I just want to make sure people know from go that I'm gonna ruin it.
He's gonna ruin it.
It's like Inception. You spoiled a spoiler.
And we're not giving our mailing list winner a whole lot of time to pick a movie because I meant to do this earlier in the week. But
we oopsied.
Yeah, there was an oopsie situation.
Friendly reminder:
oopsie.
If you're on our mailing list, our emailing list, you are automatically entered for a chance to pick our third main attraction for each themed month. This month, obviously, being rip-offs.
Rip-offs. So you want to pick a movie that is a blatant cash-in on another movie, basically, is the criteria.
And it can't be Battle Beyond the Stars. Or The Last Shark, a.k.a. Great White. Great Y. That sounded like what you said.
More like it. By the way, Freddie, did you coin Valerie Burton Ernie?
No. That's Seth MacFarlane.
Oh, it's pretty funny.
Credit goes to him.
You sounded so disappointed, Kevin.
Todd McFarlane?
Todd McFarlane.
All right, Dr. Brian, you're going to be picking our final ripoff. I'm emailing you now. So I'm looking forward. He has a very deep knowledge of film and TV.
Yeah, he'll come up with something interesting. I have no doubt. No pressure, sir.
Make it easy to find.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Amy and I were just telling the boys. We stayed up watching REM music videos last night.
Like we were teenagers.
It's fun.
It was really fun. We just you know what it was? It started because there was these really fun YouTube quizzes where they play like the first part of, like you get the first 10 seconds of a song and then you get 15 seconds to identify what the song is. Mm-hmm. And we were playing those. It is really fun.
I think we'll try that.
Yeah, we were doing TV themes.
Is there a channel?
If you just Google like guess the song, or not Google, but search YouTube for guess the song.
Well, YouTube owns Google, so
Yeah, that's true. Or vice versa. So
they own Vice Versa too, the movie.
Yeah, the rights.
Judge Reinhold.
Red Savage.
So, but we ended up going down a wormhole of TV to movies and then just songs. And then we heard an REM song. I can't remember which one, but then I'm like, remember how great their videos were?
We're like, let's fucking watch them, man.
Man, let's watch some REM.
Oh my God, man.
So we just
remember how great videos were. Do people still make videos?
Yeah,
they do. Hello.
If you Andy,
macaroni in a pot.
There is a channel. it's called Apple Music. It's like MTV. It's not part of Apple TV Plus, I think, or part of Apple Music or something. I don't know. They got too many services. So it's just music videos and interviews with the musicians. It's just like old MTV.
It's fun.
It is really fun. The times I watch are mostly like hip hop blocks, I think.
Well, and you've seen that Justin Bieber, me and my wife work at an oil field, and these nice people made dinner for us. Music video 1,000 times now. It's real lame.
But there's something about seeing music videos over and over again that is like so comforting to me, even if I don't like the song.
But let me ask you this.
Do you have VJs anymore?
No.
Like,
they kind of brought that back.
Well, I guess whoever the interviewer is.
Yeah, but they don't introduce the videos, but they interview the artists.
Now, let me ask you this in regards to its similarity to MTV. One thing that was great about MTV is that they did put a lot of videos by weird, not as well-known bands. That's how so many bands, like alternative bands, became big, was because, or, found audiences was because of MTV. Do they still play a lot of unknown? Does this service, is it playing stuff that isn't, all over the radio and that you have to find?
Well, so let me answer this.
Yeah, I'm curious.
First of all, I don't listen to the radio anymore, so I don't know what is being played.
I don't either.
And I'm in my 40s now. We're all in our 40s now. So, yes, it seems like a ton of unknowns, but would the youngins know who these people
also,
are?
The definition
I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, the definition of an unknown artist from when we were watching MTV regularly.
Well, this is true. It's a vastly well, that's what I mean, though, because I feel like there are still some people who are clinging to the empire,
Yeah.
And now the rebels have won.
Yeah.
And we're living in a time of just everybody free for all.
Very
and
true.
So I'm just wondering if it's like the people who are still clinging to the old industry complex, the music industry, Billboard kind of thing, or if it's just like a free for all like Spotify is now, especially now that they have DistroKid and everybody can put their shit on Apple Music and Spotify and whatnot.
Yeah, I do feel like Apple's pretty good about they can detect the trend just based on what people are finding on their own and then start to feature those artists more. But I've discovered a lot of bands I never would have heard just by turning that on, leaving it on in the background. And
who you got?
Oh my God, Kelley, on the spot. I can tell you. Here, I'll tell you. Give me 1 minute.
Well, this is fun.
All right,
it's gonna be.
I'm gonna give you the last album that I added to my library. Let's see, recently added.
Other than a ton of REM,
right? Other
that
than
you just added.
Curtis Waters. Is a song called "Stunnin'," which the video for "Stunnin'" is awesome.
Was it stunning?
It was stunning. I really enjoyed that. Tones and I.
Oh, she's that. Is she Australian or New
I
Zealand?
don't know.
And it's that dance monkey lady.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very shrill song.
It's. I think that's a very divisive song. I like it, but I feel like you either love it or you despise it.
Oh, I don't know that song.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, these are things I wouldn't. You know what I mean? I need people to curate for me. Like,
well, I let commercials do that for me, and then I'm like, oh, I like that song from that commercial.
I have a lot of. I mean, I have a lot of new music, but it's all kind of in the same genre.
Right.
I've been deep in stoner rock for a while, so I have a lot of great neo psychedelic bands, doom and stoner rock, but I don't know any new pop.
I do want to say we have in our Discord server, if you're a patron, you have access to the Discord, which is like social media in its purest form of what it was supposed to be, where you can just talk to people you like about stuff. It is really great community, but if you join the patreon.com/NOTLP, you get access to that. We've recently added a music channel, and it's a place just for people to share. And I got turned on to like stuff in there like Chromatica and
You mean Lady Gaga?
Chromatics and the Ravenettes.
Freddie got turned on to this little known artist called Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Oh my God, they have her Oreos at Meijer. I did not buy them. Has anybody had the Lady Gaga Oreos?
Sorry, Lady Gaga, but your Oreos are gross.
What flavor are they?
Glitter. That's why they don't taste good.
It's gross because it's so scratchy. Because all the glitter.
Here's a pogo stick flavored.
Honestly, it tastes like raw cookie, like cake batter.
Oh, Amy, you might like
I
that.
could be into this.
But texturally, it tastes the same thing. Like
So it's mushy?
it's mushy.
They're not baked.
Here's your raw cookies.
It's just a sleeve of slime.
Yeah, they got all over my car. I was pissed off.
I wish each one was
Yeah.
wrapped in red meat.
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with your basic everyday Oreo. That is
If
a
you're gonna eat
perfect cookie.
An Oreo is a great cookie. It's not as good as a chocolate chip cookie.
I agree.
I
It's a great
disagree.
cookie. Oh,
Peanut
well.
butter cookies.
Chocolate chip cookie is the quintessential cookie.
Yeah, chocolate chip peanut butter is the quintessential, like, awesome cookie. It's my top cookie.
It's a great cookie.
I like a double stuff Oreo, but that's because
That's too much for me.
Pervert.
I'm a pervert. No, like I love that icing, baby. It's
Exactly. It's because you're a pervert.
I was never
Yeah,
an
my
Oreo
favorite.
kid.
Yeah. Have you tried the new toothpaste and orange juice ones? Those are great.
That's funny. We had a similar conversation last night when we saw. Oh no, we were watching Great British Baking Show or whatever.
yeah.
And somebody like squirted a tube. It looked like they were putting toothpaste on something and then wrapping pastries around it.
So
And
Kelley,
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
you were talking about doom metal. I'm not much of a metal person because it gives me anxiety.
But so much doom isn't really. It's not like thrash.
Well-
It's slow and repetitive.
I am me. I don't know these things.
You need to
Well,
listen
can
when
you
you're
def-
relaxed.
Can you define what thrash is? Because I'm an old person. I don't know what that is.
Like old school Metallica is thrash. Fast.
Okay.
Fast.
It's the thing that gets your motor running. You're like,
double bass. Double kick drum.
Gets you ramped up, right? You want to punch people.
So there's this lady on the most recent season of the Great British Baking Show. I know that everybody else watched this a year ago, but I'm just now getting to it.
I haven't watched any of it.
And she is a big fan. They say, like, they're describing who she is, in the first episode. And they're like, so-and-so is this. And she's a big fan of Viking doom metal or whatever they said. And then she makes a cookie shaped like a Viking ship.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, tell them what your mind wants you straight away.
So I'm like, what
judgment of her character.
What I know about Norwegian metal is that there was murders. There's a lot of racism.
That's Norwegian black metal. That's not doom.
Well,
There
I
are
don't
so
know if they
many-
said doom. I don't remember what they said, but in my head, I immediately equate anybody who's like, I really love Norwegian metal into being horribly racist neo-Nazis. But I know that's not right.
yeah.
It's not right.
That's black metal you're thinking of, and that is a different thing entirely.
Okay.
So black
You
metal
don't
is
sound
racist?
convinced. You're like, no, it's doom metal. It's all metal.
I know I shouldn't paint everyone with the generic brush here.
It's a vastly
So Kelley,
different genre.
What
Yes.
what metal genre should we avoid because of its connotations?
Norwegian black metal.
Okay.
That's the
Done
only one.
and done.
Racist metal.
Just contradicted yourself.
ABBA.
Mostly ABBA.
Mostly
Their
Abba.
metal years. Their pop years are fine. But once they cross over,
I've always heard these rumors about both ABBA and Ace of Base that they were neo-Nazis.
I've heard the same.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
I've always wondered, I've heard good supporting evidence for it too.
Is it just
Yeah.
that assumption that if you're super white and from certain
Teutonic.
countries,
It's the lyrics. There's
Oh,
little bits in their lyrics, especially Ace of Base. That
Ace
they
of
pull
Base,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Alise had a conversation about that a couple years ago. The ABBA connection, I'm not as sure about.
yeah, I don't know.
And I think that's because they get lumped in with Ace of Base because everybody called Ace of Base the new ABBA.
And also, which they're not and never were.
Right.
But I think, because we Googled this, I think it was one person in Ace of Base had like a weird tie to someone, some group.
That was part of it. I just laughed at what the conversation just was. I said that Ace of Base was the new ABBA, as in the context, as if Ace of Base were a new band.
Yeah, they're the new ABBA.
30-year-old
1992.
Post ABBA.
Listen, I stopped growing as a person in 1992, so it's all new to me.
Oh man.
When I was 12.
It's all new.
All new. All the new that's fit to print.
Remember that Swedish reggae band called Abba?
Jabba!
Happy Valentine's Day, by the way, everyone.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I love
And
you
if
guys.
you hate hearing that or you hate it, I didn't say it to you.
Yeah. Wasn't for you
I
then.
wanted to let you know that I specifically didn't say it to you. I'm not saying it to people who hate it. Like, I'm taking it away from you.
Wait, Kelley, you already put it out there, and those people were offended.
Well,
The funny part is the same people that complain about Valentine's Day being created by greeting card companies are the ones who celebrate May the 4th for Star Wars. So
not even created by a greeting card company.
Yeah.
Somebody just said that one day and it became a thing.
yeah.
Anyway, but for people who care to hear that, happy Valentine's Day. Hope you're getting laid.
And
I
if
was
not,
I'm sorry if you were offended.
Andy is
Are
sorry.
you though, Andy?
if you're asexual, enjoy your box of chocolates.
It's the day to celebrate love.
I just want everyone to have a happy.
It doesn't.
Get your box of chocolates tomorrow when it goes on sale.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to necessarily. I know it's supposed to be about romantic love, or I guess it is, but I would like to celebrate all the different kinds of loves.
Yeah.
It could be about anything. People. It's not just about sex love. Parents wish their kids I wish my son Cole a happy Valentine's Day today.
Hey, Elsa, happy Valentine's Day.
Is Sex Love a band?
She's asleep. She's
Sex
a dog.
love.
If it isn't a
be.
band, how is it not a
Hashtag
band?
sex love should
Yeah.
be. I think hashtag should be the beginning of all band names now. And I think you should write it out.
Is there a band called Hashtag?
Hashtag. But you have to write out hashtag.
Oh my god!
And then the band's name is the symbol hashtag.
Oh, the actual symbol. Okay.
I see.
That would be a funny band name.
Hashtag hash browns.
Hashtag pound sign.
Ooh.
Goodness gracious!
Yeah.
Is there anything else going on this week that was horribly depressing and sad and awful and made you cry a few times? No.
Are you talking about Joss Whedon or the impeachment?
Both.
Well, the
Joss Whedon
impeachment.
got impeached.
Yeah. He should be, apparently.
Joss Whedon has been in a slow impeach process for the last few years, and it just kind of sped up a little this week. I don't know, like it's like the
It's one of those things. Look, we all talk. You can choose to stop watching people's stuff or not. I'm not going to.
Buffy was such an important thing to me
Right.
at a time in my life.
If you start that, then you lose. I mean, you are going to lose a shit ton of art. Now, some people will say, well, fuck your art. I don't even want to get into this whole conversation because I feel like people now, because of social media, know too much about everyone's opinions about everything.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm not going to stop watching any of his properties.
Well,
and I'm not
also,
really a lot of time worrying about it.
A lot. He's one person out of that entire, I still would celebrate like the performances of these great, like they're mostly great actors.
He didn't even write most of the episodes,
Right.
direct
It's
most
true.
of the episodes. Again, like you said, you can pick out someone from the crew who's awful. There was probably pedophiles on the crew of everything. You know what I mean?
God.
Or murderers or,
true.
spouse abuse.
You probably ate a sandwich that was made by someone who ate like all their pets.
So I think in turn, I think it's fine to say for yourself, I'm not going to watch this person's work, but I don't think you get to tell other people that they shouldn't. That's how I feel about it.
I do believe in like retroactively taking away like what financial benefit people who are proven to be abusers reaped from their art. Like, it's kind of like when John Wayne Gacy was making paintings. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing.
Well, it's illegal. You can't, you can't make money off of your crime if you've been convicted of a crime. So like OJ, all of his profits from his one book went, the Goldman sued and got that, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that real? Or did I dream that?
Yeah, his victims, they should redistribute that shit to all the people we victimized. Anything he made based upon abusing those people.
Right.
Which is if you think about it, he used them as springboards to further his career to heights of what would be substantial windfalls for those people.
I don't know. It's tough.
But what can happen to Joss Whedon, though? I mean,
at this point, he just won't get as much work.
Is being an asshole
It's
Is
not
that
illegal.
Illegal?
Well, it sounds to me like it was so bad. It was the point, like Michelle Trachtenberg said, she wasn't allowed to be in a room alone with him. Like, so
I
the-
don't know what that means.
the accusation-
You know what it
It's
means?
it's like an HR issue as
Right.
opposed to,
who
is
knows?
it legally?
Nobody's
illegal to be
gotten
an
into
asshole?
details. No one's gotten into details. For all we know, he was doing something blatantly illegal. No one knows.
Right.
But abuse is abuse.
Abuse is abuse. I mean, at this point, I don't think anybody would want to work with him. Right? I mean, Gina Carano maybe, but like, you know, this is what. So these things come out, then the industry reacts, and then you don't get as much work. At this point,
Yeah.
you
What
can't
about
cover
Woody
for
Allen,
these
though?
assholes
Everybody
anymore.
still clamors to work with Woody Allen.
Or Mel Gibson.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
That's why,
their
like-
reckonings came before Me Too, like before Trump fired us all the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like harder and more angrier than we've ever been. And we are just changing. Why
And
does
it's
Mel
like-
Gibson still fucking get to make
Yeah.
movies? I will never
It's-
understand that. He
Well,
is such
like,
a pig.
Those people are prime examples of why cancel culture does not exist. People throw that term around so easily and so like cavalierly to like try to scare people. If they're trying to like control what you believe and think, no, we're trying to hold you accountable. There's a difference. If you make amends and show that you're a different person and are apologetic for what you've done and said, then that's when you're like, okay, you've shown that you've changed. But when you haven't, that's when you get canceled. So
Or you just wait a while and then Billy Bush can be back on the air.
exactly.
Or you can be
But
president, like whatever. But like, I don't know. It's so
people are just
gross.
weaponizing this cancel culture that they're trying to tell you what you can do and say. Like, yeah,
Well,
there's consequences for what you can do and say. But if you pay for the crime, then you're fine
as
to a certain extent.
the other night we were at Bed Bath and Beyond, and guess what? I saw a whole wall of My Pillows for sale.
Oh, I thought
pillows
they
were
took
for
that off the shelf.
Well, they're still at the Coleraine Bed Bath and Beyond.
What's a My Pillow?
Oh, Kelley, how good for you to not understand what that means.
Yeah,
The
My
CEO
Pillow, yeah.
of the My Pillow company is a fucking
Conspiracy
insane
theorist.
QAnon conspiracy.
Yeah.
The election was stolen. Trump is my hero. We should have declared martial law.
Like, he's literally crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of people are these days.
And they're making me that way, and I'm mad about it because I don't want to be crazy.
Yeah.
But you're angering me with your crazy.
No, they've made people crazy.
They've made me crazy.
time.
Yeah.
It's a stressful time. for
I watched.
Just need to turn off the news.
Well, that's the problem. Like Freddie had that impeachment trial on all week, and
I
actually
watched every minute of that.
I was grateful for that because I saw what an incredible job was done by the House managers. But whatever, it was amazing. But then yesterday I watched Mitch McConnell go not guilty, and then 20 minutes later say Trump is absolutely responsible for the riot at the Capitol on the 6th. And then my head, I felt something like pop inside of my head, and then blood began to
Can't
gush.
think about it too much, man.
It's just like when Freddy Krueger
my
got out
eyes.
because they signed the search warrant in the wrong place.
Yeah, just like that.
So you're advocating for mob justice?
No.
He's advocating for main justice.
Yeah, because if you do that, then Trump comes back in our nightmares.
He already has.
Yeah.
And he can talk to you all day in his broken, weird way of speaking all
gonna
through the
find-
night, and you'll just die.
We're going to find his wig in the furnace. Like, you check this, Mom?
Very smart, very good genes.
Oh my God.
It's inflammable. Which that word can mean both things.
I am your boyfriend now. Grab you by the pussy.
Why did she keep the glove? I forgot. Did she just want a souvenir of what they did?
I think it was just to remind herself that he was still dead. We're shifting into a Nightmare on
I
Elm
like
Street
it.
here.
It's fun the way we do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Like,
so
Mom,
she
it's
could
like,
go down
Mom,
and
you're
say,
insane.
Yeah, why did the mom keep it?
Don't you feel like maybe she could have been the one who got the ball rolling?
Well, I'm sure. I genuinely think that it was just to be cool. I don't think it was like a character real.
You don't think you thought she was doing it to be cool to show her friends?
Just like, look what I got.
You guys. Yeah, come down the basement.
Come in here.
I like to think that, every now and then she goes downstairs in the front to the basement and just runs over her body, like
jerks off with it.
Yeah, like she has a couple of wine spritzers.
She has a psychotic break in it, and she's cooking Hamburger Helper, and instead of the little white glove, it's Freddy Krueger's glove, but it's still got that cute little face on it.
Oh.
But it's burned.
I love Hamburger Helper. It's so comforting.
Is it time to move on if we're talking about Hamburger Helper?
Yes.
All right, that's a good indicator, probably.
That's the next segment of the show. We'll review Hamburger Helpers.
I can give you that review.
Boys and girls, it's time for Straight-to-Video Russian Roulette.
The outpost is 30 miles over those hills. Let's move out.
Who are we babysitting this time?
Not a who, a mansion. Yowza.
Speaking of my whole neighborhood in Queens.
It's supposed to be a big deal when the 82nd Airborne came through and pushed out the Nazi high command.
This is a life, boys.
You hear that?
We need to talk.
We stay here, we're fish in a barrel.
We're staying.
What's that?
I found it in the basement. Belonged to one of the Nazis who took over the house.
It says what happened to the family who lived here.
This ain't right, man. This place is bad juju.
I'm just gonna say what we're all thinking.
This place is haunted. Everything we experienced, it's what the Nazis did to the family that lived here. Let's get out of this house.
If you leave,
They're here. I want everyone geared up and ready to clear out.
you can't leave. It won't let us leave.
This isn't real. This isn't real.
This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real.
Now, this movie, again, I'm not saying...
Ghosts of War.
Ghosts
Looks
of
like
War.
a cool trailer.
Yeah, made by the guy who did Butterfly Effect, and it's been a long time since, that he's had a feature out that I can think of. But I didn't dislike it. It's a good enough movie. It's a perfectly cromulent movie. Mm-hmm. In fact, the cinematography and the performances are all good.
Look good.
If some of the actors do make the choices to play interesting over realistic, which is something I actually usually prefer, is having an outsized performance to a certain level. And when I say that, I'm thinking of Kyle Gallner, who played Beaver on Veronica Mars.
And was in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it all comes back to Freddy Krueger.
He's the one in the trailer that you just heard that said, "This is bad juju." He's playing.
That's right. Like, it looks like a typical World War II movie where you have the tropes. Like, you got the Southern guy. His name is Alabama.
DiGiacomo.
You've got the all-American guy. You've got the nerd.
What was the one that we just
treading new ground?
Yeah, that came out a couple years ago. It was so awesome.
Oh, Overlord.
Overlord.
Yeah,
I fucking love that movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Which I'm dying for them to make another one. Although I heard Shadow, that one with Chloe Grace Moretz was supposed to be kind of like that. But anyhow,
you lost me at Chloe Grace Moretz.
All right.
Okay.
And that's fine. The Ghosts of War, though, it's interesting when I get to ruining this later, which I'll spoil it, even though, again, I think if you like either World War II movies or ghost movies, it's an entertaining movie and it's well done. So check it out if you're into those things. Otherwise, if you're not hankering for either of those things, you're not going to like it at all. But the twist at the end kind of speaks to what you're talking about here, Andy. The opening of this is there's 5 American soldiers. They're assigned to go to this like chateau in France during the war, and they're just supposed to guard it and relieve another troop that's there. So they arrive, but on their way, they come across these Jews fleeing the Nazis, and one of the soldiers gives the SS jacket from a Nazi he killed earlier in the film, played by Billy Zane. And that's the weird part where you're like, Billy Zane's just playing this character speaking German, and now he's dead. That was a shocker.
That was his paycheck. He was like, as long as you kill me fast,
yeah, I'll play a Nazi.
So, and also one of them is collecting like the gold teeth out of the Nazis' mouths and stuff. Again, another trope. Yeah. And but when they meet the Jews fleeing, he gives them to the mother who was fleeing with her children, the teeth, like, so she has money. Like, so they kind of do an interesting thing of playing it on you where you think he's keeping these things for trophies. Right. But he's actually taking them for an altruistic purpose. And I thought that was a nice touch because you're like, oh, this is going to be one where it's just these soldiers committing, war crimes, more or less. But that was a nice touch to kind of get you back on their side.
I like when they do. I feel like that's a good move on the writer's part. Like it shows a little bit of thought, a little bit more than what you're expecting.
And then it makes you start questioning your assumptions about what's happening. Like I think a good writer will do that. They'll actually railroad you into thinking, okay, I know exactly where this is going. Right. And then they divert you in their first act so they can play a bigger trick on you later. And that's exactly what this movie does. So they arrive at the chateau, and the other troop that's there is like haggard, and they just have had a bad time of it. They're acting a little weird, and they're just trying to get out of there. Most of them are sleeping outside when they get there. They're not even inside. So they know something weird is going on, and they take over, and they begin to experience these hauntings. There's a spot in the study where there's a big burn mark on the floor, and there's like voids in it, and the guy figures out there was a chair there, so a chair had been burned to ash in that spot. They find a spot where there's claw marks in the wood floor. There's other little things, clues and stuff throughout, like the water is black, and there's a tub full of black water. So all these little things, like good setups for like your haunting. And then as they begin to see ghosts, they're very stereotypical, as you saw in the trailer, like your black and white kind of looking ghosts, like very reenactment level effects.
Yeah, I did think, their jump scare where the woman pops up behind the guy is like, all right.
Yeah, it was goofy, right? So by the way, an actor I really like, Alan Ritchson, is in this.
Oh yeah, he was on
Blue Mountain State.
And he was on The Arrow or The Flash.
He's on Legends, or not Legends. Sorry, Teen Titans. He's on Titans.
Like I always thought he should have been like a Marvel superhero.
He should have been Aquaman. There was talk about that before Momoa, and he looks like the comic book Aquaman come to life.
He played Aquaman on the TV series. Like I forgot what it was.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he's like prototypical like superhero look.
Yeah. So he plays kind of the super tough sergeant character, kind of a jerk. But he kind of carries himself like a jerk anyway, the actor. It's part of his charm. He starts saying, this isn't real, and he has kind of this meltdown. And this is where the heavy spoiler is about to begin. So if you made it this far and you change your mind, you're like, I don't want to hear any more spoilers. I'm actually intrigued. You tune out now for about 10 minutes. So the third act is they start seeing the environment. They start seeing things in the environment that don't belong there. Like one of the guys who starts reading something is in Arabic, and they're like, why do you know Arabic? And then there are other things. They start seeing the ghosts that they're seeing, their wardrobe changes. And then there's stuff that is there's anachronisms turning up that don't belong in the time period for World War II.
Nice.
Yeah. So then if you've seen, ironically, Joss Whedon Cabin in the Woods, the walls start glitching, and it turns out they're in a simulation
Oh,
and Billy Zane is their doctor because they are soldiers that were caught in a suicide bombing in Afghanistan, I think.
What a twist!
Yeah, and they said everyone they brought them in because they were basically dead, and they said the only way they could, instead of just putting them in a coma, those guys would just die. They had to keep their minds active.
Yeah.
And they said every other simulation they rejected because they couldn't get out of the mindset of being at war. So they created a World War II simulation. So it was close enough to reality because it was the war that was so documented that
everybody kind of knows about it.
Everybody kind of recognizes stuff from it, from movies and everything, and that they created this simulation so they could still be at war and fight through these injuries. And and the guys who were freaking out and saying it isn't real, they're ones who were realizing, they were dying because they were like coming out of the Matrix.
Oh.
So they're keeping these people alive for like research purposes or keeping them alive?
No, to save them. It's
to
like,
save them.
Yeah, they're good guys. Like Billy Zane's just a doctor trying to save wounded soldiers. And the simulation was to keep them going. And
but wouldn't it be nicer just to let them die?
I don't know, Andy. That's a bigger question than a straight-to-video Russian roulette movie will answer for us. But I will tell you that the ghosts are not part of the program. That's the second twist.
Oh, there's two twists?
Yeah.
Holy
the
like
ghosts.
A virus or something?
What's that?
Is it like a virus?
No. The ghosts are
ghosts?
they are actual ghosts of the family that was working with the Americans, with the CIA. They were working with the CIA, as this really happened a lot, where we would get moles in those countries, and the CIA,
like the Americans,
they kind of fucked those people in the end, a lot of them, where they were supposed to get them out of country.
And they left them there. That's happened quite a bit.
As in burn notice, those people got a burn notice.
They got a burn notice. So what happened was these guys were the soldiers who were sent to evacuate this family because the Taliban was coming, because they figured out there was somebody feeding information to the Americans in exchange for medicine. And what happens is they make them hide in the walls. The CIA guy says, we can't be seen with them. We have to hide in the walls. And in the simulation, they kept saying that there was a Jewish family, that the reason that the people who lived in the chateau were all murdered was because there was a Jewish family that hid in the walls from the Nazis. And that's what they think the ghosts are in the first two acts of the movie, are the Jewish family that was hidden in the walls that the Nazis must have found them and killed them. But really, they're the ghosts of the family they were sent to protect, but they were in the walls when the Taliban came, and the soldiers wanted to come out and help them, and the CIA guy in charge of the mission wouldn't let them come out of the walls. And they tie the father to a chair and they set him on fire. That's the chair that's burned up in the mansion.
Holy balls.
They hang the daughter. That's part you see in the trailer, like with the silhouette behind the curtain. So it's story-wise, again, this is why it's hard to say I don't recommend it, is because it is a very well thought out.
Interesting. Yeah.
It has twists. It's very interesting. The only reason that I would say, like, it's better on paper than it is when it plays out, but it's still decent. It's sort of middle of the road.
The description sounds good. What is it that that does keep you, like, what were, or is it hard to pinpoint where the elements failed that keep you from saying it was really good? It
wasn't balanced enough. It was the third act had so much going on that wasn't foreshadowed. That
it does sound like a huge reveal, and then like another huge reveal. Yeah, like all kind of shoehorned
and then
and then kind of 30 minute chunk.
How far into the movie do they reveal the big twist?
It feels like just an ending. That's the thing. The big twist should have been like an entire third act, I feel. Right. Yeah. And instead it felt more like it was just the wrap up. And that's the reason why I think the movie's flawed to the point where I wouldn't watch it again.
So most of the movie is about the ghosts and the haunting that's in World War II.
Right. So you think right until the very end that it's just a haunted house movie.
Yeah.
But honestly, maybe if I saw it again, I might be like, oh, there's a lot more there in the beginning. But like, that's why it would be like, like if I were starring this out of 5 stars, I'd give it like 3.
Yeah. So are the soldiers that are in the simulation, are they the same soldiers that did these things to the family?
No.
Yeah. Well, they didn't do them to the family. They were there to protect them.
They wanted to help, but they weren't allowed to.
Yeah, they're CIA wouldn't let them.
These poor soldiers have to, live on in assimilation and then be haunted by the ghosts.
Well, yeah. What happens? I didn't get to that part yet. Like, what happens is after the family is killed by the Taliban, the soldiers come out of the wall. They think everybody's dead. They're really upset, and they are leaving the house. And when they get outside after the Taliban has gone, one of the family members comes out and she's got a suicide bomb, and she blows all the soldiers up. And that's why
they're injured.
That's why they're injured, is because all of them have lost limbs, and one of them doesn't have a jaw, and it's bad. This could have been a great movie.
Yeah, that's what the way it sounds like. I'm kind of like, I wish someone else had this idea and could explore it in a more more gooder way.
More gooder.
It sounds super depressing though, the way you frame it. Like these poor soldiers.
It's dark, for sure.
Haunted. These poor soldiers are haunted by this family that was murdered because of the CIA, and these soldiers had nothing to do really with what happened to the family.
Yeah. That's it. They were just,
a lot of things you can explore there.
There's a lot of truth about how the military treats soldiers in this movie.
Up, it just sounds very are they cheapening it a little bit by putting it in this? Okay.
This is a very, for what it is very reverent. And I didn't think it was going to be in the beginning. I was like, this is going to be crass, but by the end I felt like he handled it with respect. And also kind of maybe even brought attention to an issue. I think everybody knows about the CIA's betrayal of moles in other countries. But if you didn't, this is not fiction. That part of it really happens. And that part of it kind of gives the movie some weight that a roulette movie doesn't usually have. So that's to be considered. I think, Kelley, you'd probably really like this movie, even though I spoiled it for you.
Something I'd really like.
Yeah. And I want to love it, but again,
I may check it out, and it's okay that you spoiled it. But I may watch it because I do love a ghost movie and I love a twist.
Yeah, it's more interesting, for me to watch it for the process of telling this kind of story.
Yeah,
and to kind of maybe learn from it if you're a storyteller. Be like, okay, this was too heavy in the first 2 acts. It needed a little more on the back end.
Mm-hmm. A little more booty, a little more junk in the trunk.
Exactly.
Well, every movie could use more booty,
right? Mm-hmm. I don't disagree.
Grid,
even Norbit,
especially Norbit,
even Boss Baby.
Boss Baby needs more booty.
Baby geniuses.
Oh boy,
the Adventures of Milo and Otis.
Milo and Otis's owners could have big old.
Okay, you're not talking about just animals with big asses.
No, dog butts. Those are cute, though.
Hang low and Scrotus.
I mean, you could do that, but...
Freddy.
What?
All right, so let's see who's going to watch the movie for next week. We have a Jack in the Box. We're going to pass it around and crank it and see who makes the Jack in the Box pop.
It makes my taco pop.
All right, so we're going to start with Kelley.
There we go.
Kelley.
All right, Kelley, you're going to pass that on to Andy.
Oh, Amy.
Andy's safe. Pass it to me.
Your taco popped.
My taco
Quite
popped.
a good scene, isn't it?
Oh,
One man crazy, 3 very sane spectators.
But how do we know if the Jack in the Box popped?
It did.
Okay.
That's what Dr. Frank
when it popped out.
Popped right out.
He popped out of the box.
So I will be watching and reviewing a movie that Shayna, one of our patrons, suggested.
I hit the wrong button. That's why that happens.
It's on Hulu, and Freddy hit the wrong button.
I mean, it still kind of worked.
Did it?
3 men crazy, 1 man sane. I mean, there's 3 that didn't have to watch the movie.
So it's called No Escape. A social media star travels to Moscow to capture new content.
Noah's Cape? Like from the Bible? Is he a superhero? He's got to get everybody off planet before it ends.
His superpower is building boats.
Always pushing the limits and catering to a growing audience, he and his friends enter a cold world of mystery, excess, and Danger. 1 hour and 31 minutes.
Huh.
And that's all I can tell you. Until next week.
Sounds like a low-rent hostel.
Hey, you know.
That has a double meaning.
It sounds like the Logan Paul movie or something.
Oy, 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 oy. You know, there
I'm
are
gonna do whatever.
so many movies that kind of have recently come out in the last few years with this sort of concept, and I think it's obviously spurred by the whole YouTuber phenomenon, but more specifically, I think it's like Logan Paul and his dumb shit brother.
Yeah,
they're both dumb shits.
They're
last
monsters.
week we just did Spree, and it's very sounds just like Spree.
Like these guys are fucking monster YouTubers, and now we're getting movies where it's like, what if these monsters encountered real monsters?
when the Paul brothers are in their 30s, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to be really great people who are like, wow, we were awful and we learned a lot and grew up and changed, or they are going to be serial killers.
They're going to have to put them in jail just as a precaution for the rest of us. Okay. We're done with this part.
Ruthless invaders, a defenseless planet. Battle beyond the stars. A lone youth escapes on a last-ditch mission that begins at the edge of the universe. The story of a boy who finds more than he expected. And all he can handle.
Does your species have kissing?
Oh, yes. We have that.
Try one. That's a hot dog. Here comes some Earth. Do you like it?
There's no dog in this. Soybean meal, niacin, dextrose, and sodium nitrate flavoring.
That's what we call meat back home.
Battle beyond the stars. Starring Richard Thomas, George Papard, Robert Vaughn, John Saxon, a battle beyond time, beyond space.
Fire!
That ends in a desperate gamble.
They'll be able to board us.
It won't make any difference. Get that hatch open!
Battle beyond the stars.
How screwed up is it that I don't think any of the female cast members get billed in the trailer once?
Nope.
They showed them, and there was a natural place to say their name. There was even a pause that it was comical that the alien who had like the lizard look, Cayman, he's there, and they had just said like George Papard, then that guy, and then another person.
They had to insert that really important hot dog scene.
Insert that hot dog scene.
Yeah.
Well, I like that you said that
in lieu of giving credit to the female character.
Well, the thing is, they showed up. All they had to say was they had to just put a text on the screen and say their name once.
Danner.
Yeah. But anyways, this is from director, Jimmy Murakami, who did Heavy Metal. And, you can kind of see that in this as well.
This, I got to tell you, we had a lot of fun with this movie. And I feel like, because John Sayles is a genuinely great screenwriter.
Yeah.
And I feel like what happened was the studio executives called him in and they were like, we want you to make Star Wars. Okay. But not. And he's like, you want me to make Star Wars? And they're like, yeah, we want you to make Star Wars. He's like, okay. And then he's a good writer, but he's like, I'm just going to collect this paycheck. I'm going to knock this out in like 6 hours. And he wrote it, but he couldn't help having some fun. Yeah. You know, I feel like there's so many little sexual innuendos and phrases.
I thought you were going somewhere in particular with that too, because, you know, it was Star Wars was Yojimbo, right?
Right.
Or not real Jimbo.
Yeah, because the people are the Akira. Like,
right. Yeah. And then, it was the Magnificent Seven, which was the Seven Samurai before that.
Exactly. No, there's a lot of little clever. There's like you said, there's ripoffs on ripoffs on ripoffs.
Yeah.
There are all these clever little things in the dialogue. And like I said, there are so many like just cheeky little sexual things. Like, his ship looks like the female reproductive system, but with balls.
Well, with balls.
You know, we thought that too. And did you read?
It's fallopian tubes that coalesce not into like the uterus. It's it's a straight up scrotum.
Female combination.
You know, built that.
Like a lot of things at this time. There was like all those with little symbols with the crosses and the.
That's James Cameron who did that.
Yeah,
and he said it's a spaceship with tits. When he showed it to Roger Corman,
they kind of look like tits, but it looks way more like a scrotum.
They did that because Nell,
nipples, Amy.
It's Nell's body. Is why James Cameron did that, and Nell is a female android or ship, so he gave it tits.
I'm glad we figured that out, because I did say also when you look down on top of it, it looked like a woman's back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like it looked like a sexy woman back.
You know, when we first saw it, I thought it was a big penis, and it was parked in that cave, and then the balls were hanging out the outside of it. So I thought it was and when I didn't know that was the front until they went to land it somewhere else, and they noticed the nipples.
It's a reproductive mullet.
I did.
Yeah, they just threw
lady parts in front, balls in the back.
They just threw any thing that was remotely sexy into the ship, like ooh, balls. Ooh,
do you know what I liked about Nell?
Ooh, pubis.
Like Nell, the ship, right? Who is very confusing on the outside, but inside.
And I thought that was voiced by June Lockhart. It is not.
Oh, wouldn't that be funny?
It was
the titty ship was voiced by June Lockhart.
It was Lynn Carlin.
What she's doing? Why would that be weird?
I don't know. It just makes me laugh. But the interior of the ship, I thought, looked great because it
ripped off the Millennium Falcon and Star Trek.
Yes, but everything was covered in like padding.
You know,
so think about you're a ship out in space and you're getting shot at, and you think about all those Star Treks and Star Wars where they're like getting thrown out of their seats and hitting things and hitting their heads. But on this ship, you can just bounce off the walls and you're fine.
Yeah. Also,
it's like a moon bounce inside.
It looked cool, right? Like I thought the inside was really cool. But
calm down with that word. But it looks good.
Did you read that? Like a lot of that's used McDonald's containers that they collected and painted and stuff to build
styrofoam.
That makes total sense.
I don't know back then what it would have been 1979 or whatever when they filmed this.
It was made out of
probably
asbestos.
styrofoam. I wanted to point out another layer of deep ripoff, and I don't know that this is intentional, but it's just so funny because you have Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker, and he's on 8 is Enough. He is a teen heartthrob, and he is in a show about a huge family. That's a nice family movie. Richard Thomas is in a similar situation. He is playing John Boy on The Waltons, a family-friendly show. He's a little bit, I don't know if I'd call him a teen heartthrob, but he's the teen boy of that family. And it's about a big family, and it's like it's like a family show. It's like they were like, You want to really be a ripoff? Let's really do a ripoff.
The trailer said,
let's hire other people from Hammer movies that aren't as well known.
Yeah. The trailer said it's beyond space and time, and I don't understand what that's supposed to mean in the context of this movie. They were in space, and there was no time travel or anything like that.
It's ostensibly it's the future, but they still have Confederate flags.
Yeah, that was they
still have space stereotypical Western people.
Yeah.
Did they, Andy?
You want to watch the A-Team so bad.
They didn't. Yeah.
And they have 50s diner waitresses in the form of Nell
as the ship's computer. Yeah.
So I think that's what the timeless is, because they have all these references from these things that are way in the past.
Yeah.
In the movie, set in the future. It's weird amalgamation of different things.
Well, isn't it weird?
Beyond space, because you get to the end of space and there's like a door there.
Yeah.
And you go through that door and it just looks like more space, but it's beyond space.
It's beyond space. Okay, I get it.
I think they're, I don't remember at the beginning, did they address that this is set in the future of our universe? Like, I don't remember that being there, but that is...
The cowboy is about the only way you're going to know that.
Him just saying he's from Earth.
And apparently Earth in this universe, I was reading about this because that's, I needed more for some reason. But Earth was destroyed in this universe. So the cowboy is like the last Earthling or whatever.
Oh, really?
Is what I was reading.
Representative of Earth is trolling the galaxy with his Confederate flag on the outside of his ship. That's great.
I fucking love Space Cowboy.
I liked the character, but I didn't like
awesome.
that.
Oh, I like the idea of the character, but everything was just so shoddily. Characters, that's putting it like lightly. There's no characters.
I love that movie. You could take that exact performance and character and put him in a better movie, and I would be like that. He'd be a classic character that everyone loved.
Were you an A-Team fan?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, I want to go watch some.
He's great
I love George Papard.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
He's awesome.
I genuinely liked this movie. Like
me too.
Had a good, like, the story is actually, again, you have a good screenwriter like super slumming.
There's no story.
There is a huge story.
It's suggested at a huge story is suggested.
It's very it's
There's
a
plot that you can follow.
There's a plot, but mostly it's them collecting aliens and showing how weird these aliens are.
Yeah, it's loosey goosey, but it's just the Magnificent Seven.
You got little Richie Tom Tom, Bill Denbrough, Shad, and he.
My name.
He lives
Shad
on a planet that is all sand and interesting trees. But I don't think the trees have leaves. It's not important. But they are the Akira, and they're just chill people that wear muted.
The planet's called Akir.
They wear muted robes, tunics, rough hewn.
One of them was Kathy Griffin.
It's like a very comfortable planet.
Julia Duffy's in this movie too. She's the one that gets kidnapped.
Yeah,
this was she was real cute in this.
And they've been told by John Saxon, who comes from a race of people that all have scars on their eyes. Everybody on the ship.
Sador. Lord Sador.
And he's like, guess what? I'm going to ruin your planet if you don't agree to blow me. I forget what he said.
He wants the resources.
Yeah.
What resources? That knew Frank Enfurter when Frank Enfurter still lived on his home planet, and he's like, I don't like him. He's not good at parties because he was always a bitch amongst all the crazy extraterrestrials.
That feels right.
What was the resource he wanted? Because the whole planet was made of sand and tree.
It was a fiefdom. Like the people were part of the resources. Like
he just wanted slaves.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Really, he just wanted to take over, whatever that means.
Yeah. And
whatever that means.
He's like, you guys just go ahead and like soak in this situation for a little while. I'll be back in a couple days. Basically.
I love how he keeps bragging about this weapon and never uses it really. And
the stellar converter or something.
Yeah, the stellar converter.
Instead of taking over, he tells him he's going to take over.
Yeah.
And he's going to come back. It's like the biggest lie. It's just like a bully trying to convince you that they can do something to you. They're like, you better give me your lunch money or I'm going to get my dad's samurai sword and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to cut your balls off. I'm going to come back on Friday. You give me your lunch money, or if you don't, I'll go get my dad's samurai sword and cut your balls off. That's like what I feel like Sador was doing. Is like, why don't you just take him over if you can take him over? Why are you going to come back?
That's what the Klingons do too, though, in Star Trek. They go in, they show that they're powerful. They give the people time to get their shit together, and if they don't, they come back and kill somebody.
Oh, so he ripped that off too?
Well, I mean, that actually, I feel like, was that on that was more like next gen type of Klingon behavior.
Oh, the Klingons, they really were a lot different in the original series.
Yeah.
So
it was Enterprise. Enterprise is when they were doing that stuff.
So he goes off. He's like, well, scared them. And then Richard Thomas is like, I'm going to take the ship because I'm the only one who can. We still have this old guy here, and he used to do that, but now I do that.
Zed's dead, baby.
Zed. So Zed is your old Ben Kenobi, right?
Yeah.
But
he's also blind.
He barely figures. He doesn't really do anything except die later.
What's the main character? Shad. I was just confused. Like, why was he chosen to be? The only reason is because he can fly the ship. Is that the only reason he's our main character?
I don't know.
Think so, because they only have one ship.
Well, didn't it have something to do with like who she would let fly her, and that she had some sort of connection? I think
there's the problem, Freddie, because we had so much trouble figuring out what was going on.
Yeah,
but it's like in Star Wars, you had Luke's character arc that he's the savior of, like the Jesus character. He's going to save everybody. But this character, the only reason we're supposed to follow him is because he can fly the ship.
The fallopian scrotum.
I need more of a motivation to cheer for this guy besides I can fly a ship.
The fallopian scrotum.
Yeah, it's the fastest ship around.
Yeah, because there's no
completed the mammogram.
I can do these things. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize this. I guess I need to go on this journey. This was him going, I'm on it, guys. I'm gonna go get mercenaries. Yeah, because I guess they're all pacifists.
Yeah, nobody on that planet knows how to fight.
This movie is a you son of a bitch, I'm in movie.
So they go get. So they're like, go to this guy, this doctor or whatever. He'll give you weapons and you can go from there. Dr. Hephaestus. Now, this I thought help me understand anything that happened here, because I understand they want to give him a love interest. So they have to get him to this station to meet this girl.
This happened on Star Trek 2, by the way.
Now later.
So Star Trek is a ripoff of Star Trek.
There's they've ripped off Star Trek, because remember the planet where there was the human woman maintaining all the androids.
Yes.
Because her father had wanted her to keep him alive or whatever, it was his legacy, but she was aging. They weren't. She's taking care of all of them. So he tries to finally do the right thing for her, whatever that is, whatever he thinks it is.
It's a station, and he's going to go get the weapons. But the old man, who's just ahead now,
in an egg, also from Star Trek. Remember Captain Pike,
Futurama,
and Futurama. But this came before Futurama, so
I understand that
it can't be.
But he's like, I'll give you the weapons if you marry my daughter and take her away. And then Shad's like, that doesn't seem nice.
They were just going to kidnap him and rape him and have him.
Oh, he was going to keep him there.
Yeah. Remember
yeah, that's right.
He was like, you're going to fuck my daughter. I don't care what you say.
You're going to make babies. Let's go do this.
We need real people.
And then he's like, escort them to the conjugal suite.
That's right.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
Why'd they have a conjugal suite if there were no other? Why? It seems
he was just he was just waiting for a man, no matter who it was.
It seems like folly to have one if you're not sure that you're ever going to need to use it.
A conjugal suite is not necessarily just for procreating; it's for also doing things in maybe a couple of the androids.
I'd like to know what the guy's thinking when it's just him and his daughter before all the androids, and he's building the conjugal suite.
Yeah.
Ew. If you ever want to see an android do the robot, this is the movie to do it.
This is the movie.
Yeah.
He fucking does it.
2 of them. And they really go all in.
Did they only have
an
2
extreme
weeks
robot
to make this movie? It was just funny.
This is, at the time, a very expensive movie. It's the most expensive movie Roger Corman ever made.
Everybody does look like they're having a good time.
Yeah.
I love to now, before I say what I'm going to say, because I feel like the way I was going to phrase it, if I didn't qualify this, you all would scoff at what I was about to say. Because what I was about to say is some scenes, some of the effects are competent.
Oh, they're great. They're beyond competent, I think.
What?
I think the effects in this movie are awesome.
Well, okay. Well, they're okay. I mean, some of them.
For the time.
But then there will be a scene of a ship flying, and it'll just be a toy ship that you can almost see the person's hand in the shot
because it'll
they
move
just
weird,
it
jerky,
statically across.
Well,
and then
it
the
reminded
very
me
next
of
shot is a great.
Well, it's because they're done by different teams. There was footage in this movie that was done by this team that Corman had created, much like Lucas did with Industrial Light and Magic. There wasn't a team that could work on this kind of budget and do what he needed done, so he made his own. But they had made footage for another sci-fi movie he had made, and some of that is in this. So when you see that contrast, when you're watching this and you're seeing like a flawless piece of a starship battle, and you're like, that looks like Star Wars, and then you see another one that looks like Plan 9 from outer space.
Exactly. That was my exact thought.
It reminded me of The Last Shark, actually.
Yeah.
Because you have those scenes where it's like actually like a decent shot with the shark animatronic, and then you see it cut to like the toy shark, and then you cut to the toy helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, you know how Freddy said it was like if kids made Jaws?
Yeah.
It's like if kids made Star Wars, that'd be the same thing.
If rich kids made Star Wars.
Rich kids whose dad wrote the screenplay for them, like on a drunk afternoon, but he's kind of funny.
Agreed. Oh, there's little bits of Yiddish in here too, like hidden in like alien languages is actually Yiddish.
Which makes sense because like all of the that sort of like style of comedy like from the 50s and all that Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner stuff, it was still holding on as comedy in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like into the mid 80s, like up through like the Naked Gun movies, you were getting shit like that.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
It's fun.
I would have liked it more if they lean in more into that, but then you have these moments where it tries to be super serious.
Yeah.
Like if it was more of a farce, I'll be totally in.
There's a movie I got for you, Andy. You're going to love it.
Speaking of Mel Brooks.
So the lady, she decides to go with him and help him because she's good at computers, which I think is the line.
She says,
you know,
I'm good at
computers.
She looks like
like
somebody.
My computer.
She looks like someone who would go on a date with Mork from Mork and Mindy.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
And like, so I guess they sort of split up. She has her own ship and he has his ship, and he's going to go find more mercenaries, and she's going to do, I don't know,
computers.
She ends up with Cayman.
Yep. He's going to eat her.
And the two Heat twins.
The Kelvins.
The Kelvins. They communicate with Heath.
They communicate with Heath.
So here's my question. How do they understand us? Because clearly the conversations they're having, they're responding.
It's just like the internet. They convert the words into heat, and then they understand it. It's
some
like,
words are hotter than others.
It's just a very poorly thought out way. It's a very poorly thought out alien because
it's an interesting concept. I'm like, okay, you tried something.
It's very aggressive because as soon as the Kelvins approach the lady, she's like, they're burning me.
That's true.
It's like, so they approach her with, I'm going to burn you, even though I'm trying to say hi.
Well, do you remember George Peppard's playing his harmonica around them like they're a campfire? Yeah. That was like a weird little thing. I
didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it didn't really play.
So many things. I almost want to watch this again because I feel like there are so many little things. Like it is a goofy, obviously like a genuinely not good movie, but there are genuinely genuinely deliberate good things too. Like it's so weird. It
looks like a blockbuster from the 80s.
It's made by people who have gone on to do really good things
and who'd already done good things
and who had already done good things. And then this, it's just very interesting how we got here.
Well, Kelley said a lot of things were deliberate. I think a lot of things were deliberate, but they were just poorly executed.
Oh yes.
It really makes you appreciate Mark Hamill's performance.
I will say,
here's the thing.
I thought Shad was better than Luke Skywalker.
I never thought. Everybody thinks that Mark Hamill was annoying and had better performance. I thought it was deliberate.
Skywalker's a bitch.
Look, it's deliberately bitchy.
I know. I'm not saying Mark Hamill was fine. I mean the character of Luke. I don't mean Mark Hamill as an actor versus Richard Thomas.
Do you feel that way through the character's entire arc?
That Shad is cooler than Luke?
Yeah.
I feel like he's cooler.
Well, he was just he comes out of the box like ready to go. And Luke was a little bit more like, what the
and
fuck?
I know a lot of our fans absolutely love Luke Skywalker, but don't tell me.
Bitch too.
He's a little bit of a bitch. Luke Skywalker whines. He whines in Return of the Jedi.
Whined a bit.
Shad is just such a nothing of a character.
He volunteers for this mission and then is like, what do I do? What do I do?
I didn't say he was cooler. I didn't say he was better or stronger or had the potential to fulfill a prophecy or anything.
Yeah.
I just said, Shad, when you look at Shad, he's not like, power converters. He talks like a normal human being.
Shad is like that. He's like, what do I do? And now has to do everything for him.
He has great banter with the ship. Luke would be like, what are you talking about? Come at me, nerds. I'll fucking say it every goddamn day.
It's so funny that we had...
Why is Shad arguing with the ship that is doing all the work for him? Like, you should do whatever the fucking ship says. Don't go back and forth with her because you're a bitch.
I don't. Why did she even have him do anything? It's like, just let me do it, kid.
Yeah, because he's like, you shot, you killed, you could kill all of us at any time. This is probably when Skynet started occurring to James Cameron. You think about it.
Wait, the machines, yeah.
You know that spaceship with tits I made? I'm going to make something that's going to revolutionize science fiction storytelling.
There's an alternate script for this movie that James Cameron wrote while he was doing the ship designs. It's much darker.
Speaking of tits, like, I feel like the most successful deliberate thing that they did was that Valkyrie character.
Oh yeah. You never see a Valkyrie go down.
Saint X-Men.
She was totally meant to be like this sexual innuendo, tongue-in-cheek stuff, and I think it worked so well.
It did. Every time they threw out some little like fucking innuendo in the dialogue, especially with her, it just made me smile.
So Saint X-Men, which is her name,
the patron saint of X-Men.
Her race, I guess, her species,
the Valkyrie.
Their ships don't have weapons,
they're warriors. Yeah.
So why are you out in space with no weapons if you're a warrior? You're confusing me.
Maybe she is the weapon.
Yeah, don't they treat it like flying yourself into your enemies is like
it's like a kamikaze type thing.
Yeah.
But her thing is, I'm gonna make you crash your ship by being laying down in my the way she was sitting. Like mostly reclined.
Oh, she looks like a mannequin.
It's weird.
That was totally deliberate to see like her splayed out.
Yeah, you got to see the tits like real good.
Yeah.
Then the tits were out.
So the question
Not
too
all the
is,
way, but mostly.
Did you guys notice? I think she had her script like taped up inside the ship, because there were times when she would start to deliver a line and then look over there for a minute
and
it
becomes Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
she become the host.
Exactly.
She was looking at the
and
cue
just
card.
delivers her lines looking off camera.
Yeah, if you watch it again, Kelley, let me know what you see.
I'll watch for that.
It's such a cute moment though. Like the fact that they kept it in there.
She was a good character. Like she brought some fun.
She was fun.
Her and George Peppard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She was a fun character, and she was doing everything that Shad wanted, but Shad was just so dismissive of her.
Oh yeah, he was a real bitch.
Yeah, that's why he's a bitch.
He is a bitch. He is a bitch. Look, Shad and Luke Skywalker are both bitches.
Space bitches.
Shad seems a little bit more conversationally savvy than Luke Skywalker.
But he's just so unappreciative of all these things that these characters are putting their life on the line.
Oh yeah, he doesn't know.
He gathers up this like crew, this ragtag bunch. Also, the white makeup, white robed guys, not the KKK. These are aliens.
Right. Nestor.
They're a bunch of clones, and they all.
Remember we were joking around about the cowboy lighting up when he saw them because he thought they were Klansmen.
Because they're wearing red hoods or white hoods, red hoods. Yeah, they were an interesting bunch. I like what
they were the Star Trekiest. I feel like they were the biggest Star Trek ripoff. I felt like, other than the ship's bridges.
They capture one of the Nestors. When I say they, I mean John Saxon. Sador. And
it's Sador, Amy. Jesus.
So you find out the clones can see and hear and feel
like
all
a hive mind.
Yeah, like a hive mind, like the Borg. But so Sador, you see John Saxon like vamping around in his scenes with his arm in a sling, but they never really explain why. I just thought it was like a Napoleon thing.
And did he before they cut? So well, I'll let you get to your thing, and then I'll ask my question.
So like you see him vamping around some scenes with the sling, and you're like, okay. And now you have a kidnapped Nestor, and he's like, all right, cut off his arm because they're going to torture him for information, but they realize they're not going to get anything from him because he's just that cool. And he's like, all right, cut off his arm. So they're going to cut off the Nestor's arm and put it on. They do. The doctor cuts it off. This doctor. This guy, his acting was so over the top when he was gonna like inject something into John Saxon's neck. He just he's really exaggerated with his movements to do it. It's very hilarious. But they cut off the arm, put it on John Saxon, and then the Nestors start trying to kill him with it
because they can control their
they can control
arms.
it from they're nowhere near.
The best part's though when it comes up into frame with a hand and he's got like a Mickey Mouse hand.
Yeah,
he's like, we need to do something about this.
That was funny.
It was funny.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I froze for a second, so I don't know if you said this, but the reason that Nestor, they weren't going to get information out of him is because if they feel pain, they die. Like, as soon as they start to torture
they have
him,
no threshold.
They're the glass. That was like a great moment when he's like,
does you have a high tolerance for pain?
And he goes, no, in fact, we have none at all. It was very much an Ed Flanders. Yeah, it felt like an Ed Flanders thing. They're so innocent.
Nothing at all.
By the way, that actor is the guy who was like the doctor in Terminator 2 that, had Sarah Connor in the hospital. He's a great character actor.
So they torture him, he dies, and then they give him the arm. But it's a Mickey Mouse arm, but then they realize it starts moving.
But what's funny in that scene, I felt like here's one of those moments where shit was not right. I don't remember him saying like, we should cut off his arm and give it to me because my arm's fucked up. He just says, now cut the arm off.
Cut the arm off.
And I'm like, wait, did I miss a line or something?
So you as a viewer you've seen John Saxon in the sling, but maybe you didn't notice it because everything's lit real dark, and now all of a sudden they're just putting an arm on him.
It's a very bring out the gimp moment.
A dead arm is like they don't. There's no anything. He just does it. But you put it together.
It's this weird character arc that they gave John Saxon's character because at the end he was like, I want to live forever.
I love that. I thought that was a great moment.
But it just came out of nowhere.
It was dumb.
They gave him no. All he's just
no
a
motivation.
villain.
Well, I guess the arm thing it kind of builds up to that because he's almost like a Frankenstein type character, and he's extending his life.
No, I get that.
He has no. I didn't figure that out.
Is that another ripoff?
Well, they did that. They did that on Star Trek, I think, as well, right? Where somebody kept stealing. There was the species that on Voyager that took.
That was on Voyager, but that was in the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, maybe.
Star Trek has ripped this movie off.
Yeah.
Just
after it ripped Star Trek off.
The Vidians.
The arm thing and the revelation that he wants to live forever, it just came out of nowhere.
No, totally. And like I put together that they were giving him that guy's arm to replace his lame arm.
Right.
But they didn't say anything.
Nope.
Like, so you had to like you said, you kind of had to notice the arm that didn't work. And then when he, then you're like, oh, I guess that's why they're doing that. But
and I guess
mean,
that
they didn't
scar,
say.
And maybe that scar on his face, like makes you believe that something happened to him.
But everybody has
just
it.
Trying to,
well, they're all mutants.
And he's trying to piece himself back together to live forever.
Are they mutants, Kelley?
That's what he says.
The two guys look like they had face circumcisions, the co-pilots.
Oh, the two guys that were like monitoring the planet Akir.
All of his crew had
bad guys.
They're all mutants.
Yeah, and I wonder though, like if the reason they have all those surgical things, they keep trying to correct the things that are wrong with them. Maybe. But like, there's some great moments between those two where if it makes you happy, like they care about each other in a way that henchmen, you don't see that in movies outside of comedies usually.
It's very Adventure Brothers.
Yeah.
These are like buffoon type characters, but they have this really dark moment where they kidnap a lady and then
he's raping her in the back. Yeah,
they rape her off screen.
Julia Duffy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I would think I was getting cake.
She comes. She like the one guy's monitoring the ship while the other guy's in the back raping this woman that they kidnapped, and then he's like, "Oh shit, you got to come out here. Something's happening." So the other guy's like, "Oh," and he's coming back into the cockpit with his pants undone.
Yeah, he said something. The guy in the ship's like in the front. He's like, "Hey, you done back there?" or something like that. I'm like, "Oh my fucking god!"
What if he just needed a new vagina for himself, and that was the part he was replacing?
If
regardless, he still kidnapped this chick
and mutilated and stole her organs. Yes, but is that a crime?
It's dark.
But she gets her revenge. Unfortunately, she explodes the ship with herself in it.
Yeah. She had a real bad day.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I blocked that part out. I think
that was a rough one. I'm like, what?
Because it's very unearned. It was.
Yeah,
it just went from being something goofy.
Yeah.
You're like, this is hardcore.
You know what my favorite part of watching this movie? Andy came over to watch it. He was masked. Everything's fine. I don't know why I felt the need to explain that to everybody. But like Andy and Freddy are both like, wait, what? And I had to keep explaining things to them.
Our hearing's bad.
It's not hearing. I think you guys are just like,
maybe you're dumb. I did turn on the subtitles at one point.
Amy, it's because they just spouted off different words that
so
have no
many
meaning.
Races and alien names, and they wouldn't
so many names.
They give it to you all at once, like Tolkien in a book in the Silmarillion.
Yeah, like the Cayman guy. He was like, I am Cayman from the
Lazuli.
Lambda
Lazuli.
Zone.
He said Lazuli.
And then he introduces this guy that's in.
That's like what they put at the end of the Lazuli commercials.
Yeah.
They're like,
do you Lazuli?
Come on home for a
He's like, I'm
Lazuli.
I'm Cayman. He's like, I'm Cayman from the Lazuli system, and this is my kleptor. Poopy.
Oh, his sex slave, Mr. Slave,
the guy in the crocheted underwear.
So he just and like the same thing with the Kelvins. These are Kelvins from the blah blah blah.
Yeah,
they are blah blah blah.
Robert Vaughn. We haven't even talked about Robert Vaughn.
Oh my god!
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
He just like makes faces, and that's his entire action sequence.
That was so funny when he looked like an old man driving a Chrysler LeBaron to a funeral.
They get these. He's in a battle. Robert Vaughn. He's this like retired hitman, I guess.
Gelt. That means money.
Mm-hmm.
What I love imagining before I let you describe the scene, I love imagining the director directing this scene. Look to your left, up. Look to your right.
Am I flying or am I shooting a gun?
Don't move your head, just your eyes.
Don't move your mouth. Don't have any expression, but just move your eyes.
Move your eye. Do all your acting with your eyes.
The best you know what though?
Like this. And he's like, one more.
Hey, he feels like that because he ate serpent 7 days a week.
That's true.
Is that supposed to be like I have the most decadent meals and I'm over it, or serpent was
he
boring?
Has to eat snakes because he's stuck in this place.
He's out of everything else. He's like he hasn't got his DoorDash delivery yet.
Yeah,
but
that's all that lives on that planetoid or whatever it was.
He's right. You know those like Harleys that like were high up like handlebars.
Yeah,
chopper.
It was sort of like I don't know what's
a chopper.
But like it was sort of like that, like this thing that they gave him to like steer his ship.
Yeah,
but don't leave it just like that, because a chopper is cool because you've got your arms are spread apart.
Yeah,
and it's like but his chopper, like
very
his
that's Cowboy. You're talking about Cowboy had the periscope.
Ship.
Cowboy's ship had the worst controls of any sci-fi vehicle.
It was a joystick
ever. It was
a periscope.
It was, but they were all together. The thing is, it comes
the yellow submarine.
It's anti-intuitive in every way. Like it comes down from the ceiling like a periscope, but he doesn't have a periscope. It's how he controls the ship, and he does it by pulling back to shoot, moving the handle on the left up to steer some way, and only the one on the left moves. And It's like a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when they're directing Robert Vaughn, and he's just like, hey, make it look like you're doing more stuff.
Yeah.
A little more stuff. Just fiddle with it.
You forget that the CB radio was also tied into the controls of the ship.
Yeah, because he would push the button and lasers would fire. I think he miswired that thing. You know, I like to have a theory about his ship, by the way. Since Earth was destroyed, I like to think that ship was built for an alien race that has completely different appendages than we do.
There you go.
And he had just modified everything, and he had to rewire the radio to fire the lasers. That makes it cool.
Let's remake this, but as a very tongue-in-cheek satire.
Satire?
We'll put it on HBO.
Yeah.
So
I would love to see a series of this, like tightens up the shit and makes it more deliberately funny.
Yeah.
Like the Orville.
The Orville.
Yeah.
You got it. It's perfect. You don't need another series.
So
I love the Orville.
Shad's got his group now. We've talked about all the different dummies. And
I knew a guy named Shad, by the way.
Yeah?
In high school.
Really?
He was too cool for school.
Shad Charterson?
Nope. But close. It was Shad Farts and Berries.
Farts and Berries.
Shad Fartley.
I did know a Shad, though. That's true.
Yeah.
It's a weird name. It's fine. If that's your name, I think you're great.
Your name is Shad, listeners.
Yeah, but it's just weird. So they're going to go do a thing. A bunch of them die. Help me understand what happened in like the last 10 minutes because I fell asleep.
You mean tell you what happened last minute.
The best.
Oops.
We haven't even, because it just ends. But all right, let's go.
It does.
It's like that's when John Sayles got lazy. That's when he's like, I'm done with this.
Do you feel like at the end, Kelley, when Cowboy was about to leave the you know, it was when they're planning the attack, which again, it's Star Wars ripoff moment where they're like, yeah, somebody's died. Yeah, it's like he's got a loose scale under his dragon armor type of thing, and you have to hit it there. So in Star Wars ripped off The Hobbit too. So the moment when he's about to leave, because he's doing the Han Solo thing, because he's the not a scoundrel character necessarily, but he has his own agenda.
He's a bit of a scoundrel. He's scoundrel-esque.
Yeah, he smokes.
Scoundrel adjacent.
He's got the Confederate flag.
And the Confederate flag, which maybe he didn't put that on there, but it adds up. It's kind of like when someone tells you they're a racist space cowboy.
Believe them.
Believe them.
Well, yeah, I'm not. I mean, you know, look at the Dukes of Hazzard, which is concurrent to this.
Yeah, it's true.
There were Confederate flags. The car was a Confederate flag.
Yeah,
I'm not defending it. I'm just saying it was.
We didn't. Yeah.
Were there any actors of color in this at all?
Hard to say.
No.
Well, I don't know what was under the Cayman's makeup.
No, he was a white man.
But otherwise, no.
No, this is an extraordinarily white movie. Go on.
This was true of Hollywood in general then. That's the problem.
He was green. Yes, thank you, Andy.
So he's about to leave, and she's like, oh, you know, if you leave this part of the atmosphere, you'll be immediately destroyed. And other people, I assume, are leaving. They didn't mention that in their plan. Like, hey, make sure you stay on planet.
He's like, she said something about the alarms on the planet.
We'll destroy you
if you go above blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, baby,
I guess I'm staying.
Well, darling.
And then he's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to give you the business, the cowboy business.
And then he lights up a joint and says, I love when a plan comes together.
He's like,
I was watching for that the whole time because when the movie first starts, there's like the MPAA and it says for drug use is one of the things it mentions. And I'm like waiting anxiously to see how that's going to play out. And it wasn't until almost the end. And I was like, there's no drug use in this movie.
Yeah. Cause the first time you see him smoking, I think he's smoking a cigarette. I'm not sure though. Cause he looks like he's high. The way he's kicked back in that chair
to
and
get
he's
through the filming.
Cowboy, which is again obviously, you know.
Andy said his name was Maurice. Remember that?
Nice one. You should. Yeah, good job.
That made me laugh. Yeah. So you know, shit's hitting the fan as it does in the ends of these sorts of films, and everybody is attacking the big stellar converter.
Mm-hmm, that's the planet killer.
Which it doesn't blow up planets so much as it turns them into sparkles.
Yeah.
And then they float away to like wherever Care Bears live.
It's a pretty weak ass Death Star.
Yeah.
It is no Death Star.
It's like a euthanization star.
Listen, I don't want to get a bunch of emails about Luke Skywalker versus Shaq. I just want to put that out there.
It's okay, Kelley. If anybody gives you shit, you send them my way.
I will.
Shad, it's the classic argument. Shad Skywalker.
Ginger Marianne.
So what happens at the end?
Oh, yeah. Who remembers the end the best?
Well, the end.
They get sucked into the... they get sucked into the ship, right?
Yeah, the big
John Saxon ship. And then Nell does like a kamikaze thing and blows herself up.
Oh, that's right, because she loses her memory.
Oh, that's right.
Sort
I remember
of the
that.
one like real moment of like pathos.
Yeah, and it could have been really touching if Nell wasn't so irritating.
Yeah.
But
I'd like Nell.
I did.
I get what you're saying too. I was like, why are you guys arguing? Just fucking shoot the guy. Just shut up.
It's
Both
Nell
of
and
you.
Shad together that I didn't like. I think that's the problem. Their chemistry was
But separately, you like them.
a bag of nails. Because I think of like, you could have had
It's a
Nell could have been a great character.
It was a will they or won't they type thing.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, her tits are out all the time, and I don't. He's mixed messages.
They were like, "Is he gonna fuck the ship?"
And then he didn't, and I was disappointed.
He didn't fuck anybody, right?
No,
he doesn't. I don't think he's into that.
No,
Even
he made out with Neenal Nanal.
did he?
What's her name?
But that's just because she's like, teach me about
Naylene?
what you humans call love.
It's like, bitch, you
But
are.
he was pretty reluctant.
Yeah, he didn't want to.
I think maybe he's just like, too pure.
He needs a little bit more time. He can't just jump into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He needs to work up to it. Give him a chance.
He's not a one night stand guy.
This
And
movie was
then
a
they
lot
get
of fun.
sucked into the ship, and then do they destroy him?
Yeah, and
Sador?
that's where Andy was pointing out the great line where he's like, I want to live forever. But then he gets blown up because he's like, oh, shucks. I was the guy who wanted to live forever. And ironically, now I'm being killed.
Yeah, it was great.
It was a real ironic comeuppance for a guy who wanted to live to have him die on screen like that. And it took courage.
I did have the thought, like, why? All you do is just nothing.
Yeah.
You want to live forever doing this?
You're just angry.
It's like you're out, like,
you just want to do
it's
nothing.
like you're at a resort. And then what I love, it's like there's a conversation and he's like, yep, it's over. And then it's just over. There's like no real, like they're not even home. They don't even fly home. He's just like,
bye.
It was really like, they're like, we need to end this now. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Over.
Yeah. That's one of the many reasons why it's a bad movie, but it's an entertaining movie.
It is very entertaining.
Yeah, and I love that moment because you're right. It is but
Good,
like, it was
bad.
Also like,
It's the movie
I'm
that
ready
has
for it to be over now.
It has
And
the
it was
ship
just
with the
over.
tits
I didn't
in
have
it.
to sit through like an awards ceremony,
right?
Where the Wookiee doesn't get a medal.
Aww.
That's like, like every time I have a McDonald's cheeseburger, well, that was a weird way to phrase that. I don't regret that it's not like a porterhouse from Jeff Ruby's Steakhouse.
Exactly.
I enjoy it for what it is. I let it clog up my arteries and eventually kill me.
Yeah.
Just like this movie.
Yeah, I watch movies to be entertained, and I was entertained. That's all I can ask for a movie.
Yeah, this is enjoyable.
It was enjoyable. There you go, guys. We did it.
And it had Darlene Flugel in it.
Yeah, it did.
Sure shit did.
From Dr. Seuss.
Mm-hmm. She was Gadget or whatever that character's name was.
Gadget?
She reminded me of Gadget from the Rescue Rangers.
She died. 2017.
Oh.
No, Darlene
that's
Flugel.
right. I saw it on her IMDb.
Yeah, Alzheimer's disease.
No.
That's sad. I wish I hadn't looked that up now.
So next week we will have a movie selected by Brian.
Yep, I can't wait to hear what it is.
And
hope it's a sequel to this movie. Is there a sequel to this movie?
I think they planned on one, but I don't know if it ever got made.
What's funny is I would love to know, this came out in 1980. I would love to know if it was released before or after Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I could tell you probably.
Meanwhile,
Amy is doing that.
I will say, like, I wish they put toys out for this movie, and I would totally buy that.
Well, I looked that up.
You would get a Saint X-Men.
Yeah, I want the nipple ship.
Nipple ship.
All right. The wide
Titty
release, or you want to see the first place it was ever screened?
Wide release.
It says August 10th, 1980 for this movie.
Okay.
And let's see about Empire.
And they did have models of the ship of some of the ships, but it was harder to find out if they were like action figures.
Oh, they did. They did have models for this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that I would actually probably buy a toy from this movie just for the fun of how quirky it is. June 20, so 2 months apart. Empire first.
Came out first.
Yeah, by 2 months.
Empire shot first.
Yeah.
So we've been teasing our Topicana episodes. Again, if you'd like to have access to our bonus content and things like that and support the show monetarily, patreon.com/NOTLP. We've been releasing weekly Topicana, where one of us asks the rest of us a question. Andy's up next.
And we stress Andy out.
And we stress him out so much.
I don't think he was. You seem cooler this time.
Well, this is his question.
Because it's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Choice stresses me out.
Yeah.
But the next question for Topicana is, what great unsolved mystery do you want answers to? It could be a cryptid. It could be aliens. It could be a murder. Anything you want.
Anything from the opening credit sequence to Unsolved Mysteries. If you see a placard fly up in your face and it's like, can I do reunions? Like, yeah, I couldn't finish paying for my groceries, and I'm trying to find the person who gave me $1 in 1943.
Okay.
Missed connections.
Anything you want.
So we're going to record that soon, and
My
it'll be
birth
up
parents.
on Wednesday. Okay. At the end of every show, we always say hi to the producers of our show, and those are our Beelzebub level Patreon supporters.
Mm-hmm. It's warm in here.
It is warm.
It's like a Kelvin is trying to tell me something.
My ass is sweating, so we're going to go a little fast on this, if that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Alise.
Love you, baby. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Ernest.
Love you, baby.
Amanda.
Valentine's Day.
Mark, who we killed aliens together yesterday. It was lovely. Blake.
Love you, baby. You forgot Amanda.
No, I said Amanda. You were too busy doing your joke. But I'll say it again because she deserves to be heard.
Mark, Mark, thanks for putting up with us trying to get Destiny 2 to work.
We've got Bill Farner, Tree and Alex McNulty, Jeffel.
Did you say Blake?
Yeah, I said Blake, but I'll say it again. If you guys would shut up for 5 goddamn seconds.
You know another thing about Battle Beyond the Stars? No,
Iona Goodwin. Iona, great one. Branan and Emily.
Mm-hmm.
Adam. Bill Chandler. Blayne. Monica. Alyssa. We just talked about you, Alyssa, because 12 years ago you sent us chocolate. So that'll be on the Origins episode. In our introduction. Brian, who is going to select next week's main attraction. And finally, Carla.
You guys are great.
You guys are great.
All you listeners are great, but you guys are great in front of me with your names.
Yep.
You guys are great in front of me.
Yeah.
Rather have a great in front of me.
Frontal lobotomy me.
That's right.
All right, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I love you.
Thanks, guys.
Third day.
Bye.
All right.
Frankenstein was wondering if he should go to bed when his old buddy Leatherface put on Dawn of the Dead. And Igor made the nachos in a severed human head, and they enjoy the movie with their friends. David Kessler walks the with